Well, let's take a look more closely at the situation on the ground in Ukraine. Ed Arnold, a former British Army officer and research fellow for European security at the Royal United Services Institute, is here at the screen. Ed, we've seen some absolutely horrific bombing and attacks in the town. What is the latest in the east?
So, as you said, there's an intensification of the Russian offensive in the east, and it's very much focused around the town of Severodonetsk, which is the easternmost portion, which is in Ukrainian control. Elsewhere in the Donbass, actually, Russian forces are switching from offensive to defensive operations, especially in the north and to the east of Kharkiv, to essentially protect their reinforcement and logistics routes. And it shows that Russian forces are adapting because they didn't manage to do that around Kiev in the earlier stages of the war. And in terms of the intensification around Severodonetsk, in the last couple of days, we've seen Russian forces break out west from Popasna and start to try and dominate the high ground to the west of that city, which puts them in a more advantageous position for an assault on Severodonetsk, and also targeting and destroying one bridge yesterday to the river to the west, which is a critical Ukrainian not only reinforcement route, but also withdrawal route. So now they have Severodonetsk on three sides, and we're expected to see the battle start from today. Elsewhere, down in the south of the country, actually, the Russian position is very, very strong at the moment. Now that they have taken Mariupol, they have control all the way from Russia in the east over to the west and Kherson, which is critically a land bridge to Crimea. Russia has stated that their objective is also to move from the west of Kherson all the way over to Transnistria on the Moldovan border. And we've heard reports of troops massing in Kherson for around 6 to 8 weeks now, and we still have not seen the offensive. So the choices now for the Russians are to try and create another land bridge, which is 330k, which is a riskier option, or they might try and consolidate what they have there. And what that enables them to do is actually to try and control the whole of the southern coastline of Ukraine. What the G7 are very much worried about at the moment is actually to the south of Odessa and the Black Sea. Ukraine is a huge exporter of wheat. 22 million tonnes of grain is currently in silos pre-harvest, and the UN assesses that 36 nations within the region and the globe rely on Russian and Ukrainian wheat, 50% of imports. So at the moment, there's a bit of a food security crisis going here. And what needs to happen for that is for the grain to actually leave via the ports. But for that, you need Russian cooperation. At the UN, that's going to be very difficult because Russia could veto any UN Security Council resolution. It's very difficult to put NATO forces in the Black Sea for the same reasons that it would cause a risk of Russian escalation. And at the moment, really focused in on making sure that those sea lines could potentially open. But of course, this is what Putin wants. He's trying to weaponize the food supply, and he's making sure that he has a negotiating position to get further concessions from Ukraine in the future.